Next time you find yourself at an airport, maybe just watching those huge planes take off,
Yeah.
one after another, ever stop and think how airlines actually will pay for them? I mean, a single big jet can cost hundreds of millions. It's just a staggering amount of money, right? Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a whole stack of information, could be articles, research, notes, you name it, and we really try to boil it down to the most important bits for you. Today, we're diving deep into something that's absolutely vital, but maybe flies under the radar a bit for most people, the global aircraft leasing market.
It's a really fascinating part of the aviation world. Basically, it's the sector where commercial aircraft get rented out to airlines or other operators. And it sounds simple, maybe, but the ways it happens can get pretty complex. You got dry leases, that's just the plane itself pretty much. Then there's wet leases, which are more like an all-in package deal plane, crew, maintenance, insurance, the whole lot. And crucially, there are operating leases and financial leases. The operating ones are usually shorter term, lets airlines keep the big asset off their main books. While a financial lease, well, it acts more like buying the plane in installments, often leading to ownership down the line. They serve very different strategic purposes.
Right. And the real power of this whole model, what makes it so fundamental really, is the flexibility it gives airlines. They can grow their fleet, start new routes, react to the market, all without that massive upfront cost of buying planes outright. It's become just a core part of how airlines operate today, especially with our travel demand generally rising, particularly in, developing economies. So our mission today is to unpack how this market's doing, figure out why it's grown so fast, and look ahead at the projections for the next decade or so. We want to pull out what it means for global business and, yeah, how we all fly.
Okay, let's get into it. The first thing that really hits you when you look at the data is just the sheer size and the speed of this market's growth. It's pretty amazing. What are the headline numbers telling us globally?
Well, looking at the big picture, the market's really been on what you could only call a sky-high trajectory. Back in 2021, the global aircraft leasing market, its sales revenue was just over $141 billion.
Okay.
By 2025, that's projected to jump to over $213 billion.
But here's where it gets, well, really quite impactful. The forecast for 2033 is looking at an astounding $487 billion.
Whoa.
Just think about that. Almost tripling in value from 2021 in, what, just over 10 years?
Tripling, wow. I mean, that's incredible growth for any industry, let alone one that needs so much capital like aviation. What do you see as the main things pushing that kind of growth?
That huge jump really points to a fundamental change in how the aviation industry works now. It's mainly pushed by two things that are linked, really. First, the steady climb in global demand for air travel, especially driven by, growing middle classes in emerging markets. And second, just how important that fleet flexibility has become for airlines strategically. Leasing lets airlines react much faster to market changes, seizing new route opportunities, maybe scaling up faster, or even getting rid of older planes efficiently without being stuck with these huge depreciating assets long term. It sort of makes modern aircraft more accessible than just buying them ever could.
That flexibility aspect really does seem critical. Okay, so with that kind of global growth, the obvious next question is, where is this actually happening? Let's look at the regional breakdown.
Absolutely. Yeah, look at region by region. North America definitely holds a very significant piece of the pie. Its leasing market was worth around $41 billion back in 2021. The projections show it more than tripling, getting up over $134 billion by 2033. It's a real powerhouse.
And I guess within North America, the U.S. is the big one.
Oh, yeah. The U.S. dominates, making up more than three-quarters of that market.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just the U.S. Canada and Mexico are also showing really strong growth. Their markets are actually projected to quadruple over that same period.
Yeah.
So, yeah, strong growth right across North America.
Interesting. What about Europe?
Europe actually held the biggest regional share in both 2021 and 2025, based on the projections. Its revenue was around $54 billion in 2021, and it's expected to grow to a massive $182 billion by 2033. What's really interesting there is how widely spread the business is across several key countries. It's not just one or two dominating.
Right, you can see that in the numbers. You've got Germany, the UK, France, Russia,
Yeah.
all projected to be huge markets individually. France actually looks like it has one of the highest growth rates in Europe. And then you've got Italy, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, the rest of Europe. It's really widespread adoption of leasing across the continent.
Exactly. It's deeply embedded there.
But if we're talking about like explosive growth, we really need to look at Asia Pacific, don't we?
Yeah.
That region seems to be the real engine right now. Their market was just over 28 billion in 2021, and it's forecast to nearly quadruple, hitting over 107 billion by 2033.
Yeah, and if you connect that to the sort of bigger trends, that boom in Asia Pacific directly reflects the rising demand for air travel across its developing economies.
Yeah.
It's not just, more people flying, it's big investments in airports and infrastructure, new airlines popping up, and just the sheer size of countries like China and India needing strong air links, both domestic and international. China, Japan, India, they're absolutely leading the way there.
Makes total sense. China, for example, is set to jump from almost 9 billion in 2021 to over 31 billion by 2033. Huge numbers. Japan's not far behind, growing from about 6.6 billion to over 23 billion. And India's growth is even faster, percentage-wise, leaping from 4.5 billion to a predicted 18.9 billion over that time.
Wow.
And yeah, you also see South Korea, Australia, Singapore, Southeast Asia generally, all making really big contributions too.
And we shouldn't forget the emerging frontiers, South America, the Middle East, Africa. Now, they're smaller markets overall compared to, say, Europe or North America, but their growth rates are still incredibly fast. Shows a lot of future potential.
Right.
Take South America, projected to nearly quadruple its market size, from almost 10 billion in 2021 to nearly 38 billion by 2033. Brazil's the biggest player there. The Middle East looks set to almost triple, from just over 5.6 billion to over 16.7 billion. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the UAE are driving that. And Africa, though starting from a smaller base, around 2.2 billion, is expected to quadruple too, hitting over 9 billion by 2033. Nigeria and South Africa are leading there.
So, okay, stepping back, what's the big takeaway from all these regional numbers? When you see these projections, it's clear this isn't just about finance tricks, is it? It feels like it's reshaping, well, global aviation power and maybe even economic development patterns.
Exactly. That's the key point. When you
Yeah.
pull all this data together, it's crystal clear that aircraft leasing isn't just some niche financial thing anymore. It's become a fundamental force enabling the huge global growth in air travel we're seeing. It completely changes the risk game for airlines.
Yeah.
Right, lets them handle crises, sudden changes in demand, even adopt new technology much more nimbly than if they owned every single plane. And it also means the leasing companies themselves, the lessors, are becoming way more influential. They could end up setting market terms, pushing for greener fleets because that's what airlines want to lease, maybe even influencing what kinds of planes get built.
And that's the crucial connection, isn't it? This massive growth in leasing mirrors those bigger trends. Global connectivity, economic shifts. It's not just that more people want to fly, it's what allows airlines to meet that demand, opening new routes, connecting places that were hard to reach, making flying accessible to more people. It gives them that vital financial breathing room, that flexibility, without needing billions up front for every plane.
Precisely.
Okay, so to quickly wrap up our deep dive today, the global aircraft leasing market is booming. It's seen massive growth and is projected to keep going, almost tripling in value between 2021 and 2033. And this isn't just some background detail in aviation finance. It's really a critical engine enabling more people to fly more places, especially in the world's fastest growing regions.
Yeah. So maybe a final thought to leave you with. As you watch those planes overhead, think about how this leasing trend might actually shape the future. Could it influence how planes are designed, maybe making them more modular or efficient for a wider range of airlines? What about sustainability? Will lessors push harder for eco-friendly planes because they're easier to lease out? And what about the power balance between the plane makers like Boeing and Airbus and the airlines? With these huge leasing companies now major buyers, what does this massive shift to leasing really mean for the whole future of how we fly?
Definitely a lot to chew on there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of aircraft leasing. Hopefully the next time you see a plane climbing into the sky, you'll have a bit more insight into the complex financial web that helps keep it flying.